Tuesday. Gonna swim, bike, and run day. Cause it's breakfast with Bob.
And Poncho Man, everybody. Welcome to day 2, Breakfast with Bob from Kona and Huggo's on the Rocks. My name is Bob Babbitt. We're brought to you by Master Spas as fuels go longer. HOKA Let's Fly, deboer wetsuits, Forum Smart Swim goggles, Zoot Sports, the original triathlon brand, Quintana Premium Plus Sports, and of course our Challenged Athletes Foundation. Our next guest from France, Jeanne Collonge.
Hi, nice to meet you.
A pleasure to meet you.
Thank you.
So, Jen, I love the fact your 5-year-old daughter, Louise.
Yes.
Is that right? I
Yeah,
left as a
that's
Louis.
perfect.
5 years old. And what's her first name, Louis? Middle name is?
Ali, like Ali Drive. Yeah.
Because you raced this once, and that was back in 17.
Yeah, exactly.
3 months pregnant.
Yeah. And I qualified for this race at the time. It was a KPR qualification.
Yes.
And when I realized I was pregnant, I was already qualified, and I had booked my flights and everything. And we came here with my husband, and then I wanted to try it, to go in the water at 6 in the morning and just do the race. But I was really frightened because I had the baby, so I ran almost to Energy Lab, and I felt so bad that I had to stop. But it was a nice experience.
But you did the swim, you did the bike, and you got to 16 miles or so of the
I
run.
think so. Yeah.
That is so cool. And then, did you know then, I want to make sure Alpe Drive is part of our child's name?
Yeah, I mean, we thought about it, and actually it was a nice reminder of what happened here, because I could run on Ali Drive with her and me, so it was a nice symbol.
So this will be easy.
Yeah.
You'll be doing it without being pregnant.
Yeah, I mean, it's such a hard race, I think, here. It's one of the hardest, really, I think. So even not being pregnant, it will be really hard, yeah.
So when you got into the sport, you're 36 and you've been in the sport for 18 years?
Yeah.
18 years old. What got you into the sport?
My mom did triathlon, and but she was doing it as a leisure activity.
Yes.
And I was swimming when I was a little girl, just like Louise's age, and I was getting a little bored of only swimming, so I decided to give it a try for triathlon, and I immediately loved it, and I started doing short distance.
Yes.
To do the Olympics. But then I did the Alpe D'Huez triathlon, my first long distance, and I realized I had to do long distance triathlon because the bike was so important for me, and I was less frustrating doing long distance.
When you do the short distance races, the bike can be neutered sometimes.
Yeah.
So you have to work for other people,
Exactly.
and it's very tactical.
Yeah.
With this racing, it's just you and you.
Yeah, it's a really different strategy, and another sports, I think. When you do short distance, it's just like it requires different skills. And long distance is also, you also have to have a strategy and a plan, but it depends more on yourself, I think.
Absolutely. So I look at this year, and there's a little bit of a theme here. When I see 14th at 70.3 Lanzarote, then Ironman Lanzarote, you get third there, which is a great race. And then Alpe D'Huez, which you win.
Yeah.
Embrun, which is also brutal.
Yeah.
And you win that.
Yeah.
So you like hard races.
Yeah, that's. I really love the mountains and
Yes.
the Alps and even Pyrenees, and that's what I prefer. But yes, when there are tough conditions and tough races, that's what I prefer. It's really harder for me to go on a very flat race because it's less my skills. And here it's a bit between both because it's not that flat, but it's also very tough. So yeah, it's a race where you have to be very patient, I think, here.
You do have to be very patient.
Yeah, exactly.
And so you're used to when you're doing something like Lanzarote, that's a longer race. That's like 10 hours.
Yeah, it's really long.
And Alpe D'Huez, even though that's a shorter distance, that's 6.5 hours.
Exactly.
That's a long way.
Yeah, exactly. You're right.
You're patient.
Yeah, I like when it's getting longer. Yeah.
That
and
is
you
so
have
cool.
to be patient. Yes.
So when when did you, so your first long distance was Alpe d'Huez, and so was your first year moving to the longer distance, was that like 2012-ish?
It was 2010.
Okay.
Yes. I did my first Ironman in actually in Florida, which was really weird for a girl who loves mountains.
Yes.
Because it was so flat, but it was just the first experience, and I loved it. I remember the end of the marathon when I wanted to cry because it was so long. I wanted it to end. But yes, then I thought that's what I want to do for the future.
The long, and right away when you went and did your first long distance race, you realized, oh, this is what I want to do.
Yeah.
The Olympics were like, forget about the Olympics.
Yeah,
this is what I want to do.
Yeah, it was not my dream really to go to the Olympics anymore, because I realized I was not made for the short distance. Yeah.
There's something about the short distance racing, just the tactics, the mind games. Did you find the people who you're racing against? Because at the end of the day, you can't affect Sarah Crowley's race or anybody else.
Yeah.
Did you find people were friendlier?
Yeah, exactly. When I arrived to long distance, I thought the atmosphere was different, and yes, people were cheering at each other more than in short distance. Like it's less, it's competitive between pro athletes, but it's also very like
very
we can
supportive.
be friends. Yeah, very supportive. Yeah.
Yeah,
exactly.
You can all be buddies because at the end of the race, you did your race. You're racing against the course.
Yeah, exactly. And first you're racing against yourself, I think,
yes.
first. And so in short distance, it's a little different. And yeah, you don't see people cheering at each other, and it's only girls between girls, and then the boys race. And yes, here it's the same, but you have every profile, every age mixed up. So yeah.
When did you realize that you were a really good cyclist? That was something that I've got to find courses that really magnify that talent.
That's when I did the Alpe d'Huez in
That's
9.
when you realized.
Yeah, and I finished second after Nicolas Peering, and she's such a legend. I was so proud.
The Olympic gold medalist from 2012,
exactly.
And you're second to her. That's not a bad first experience.
Yeah, I was really proud, and I realized I could do that only because of the bike.
Right.
And then I had in mind that I had to do Embrun. It's a tough race in France where you go up a lot of hills and summits.
Yes.
And I did that last race in 2012, and I won it. And then the next year also, and that's how I realized that the bike is what I prefer, but specific bike because it needs to be quite hilly.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because your the first branded Ironman was Florida, and you got 6th place, right?
Yeah. But it was 2010, so maybe it was a bit different. But at the time, it was really good for me. I mean, it was a first race, and I was really happy about it.
Well, and some of the other races that you've done, you've been at Western Australia. You've traveled a ton.
Yeah, I've gone.
Has that been so much fun for you?
Yeah, I think triathlon have given me the opportunity to go around the globe, and that's really a privilege, and I realize that every day. That's why I keep doing that, because it's really a passion. So yeah.
Is your daughter at the age where she knows what mommy does?
Yeah, she realizes now. And I think for a year now, she has been really cheering me up and realizing that I'm doing this for for a living. Yeah.
So next year, Ironman World Championship moves to Nice, where you lived.
Exactly. Yeah, that's crazy.
Are you pretty excited about that?
Yeah, I'm really excited, and I would love to qualify for Nice. That's I think it's for a French girl, and especially when I have lived in Nice. I used to live in Nice.
Yes.
And so for me, it would be so great to go there and qualify for this race.
That is so cool. And then for people who don't know how hard Alpe d'Huez is, you are climbing the Alpe d'Huez that's in the Tour de France.
Yeah, exactly. And it's a legend because you go every turn that you know that all the pro cyclists have gone through, and you realize how hard it is. And especially before the Alpe d'Huez, you have climbed 2 other summits, two other calls.
Before you get to Alpe d'Huez.
Yeah, exactly. So you are already a bit tired. But that's where the difference is made, because if you go too hard at the beginning in the first climbs, then you cannot climb the Alpe d'Huez.
You're done.
Exactly.
But the guys who do Alpe d'Huez at Tour de France, they're not swimming beforehand and running afterwards.
They don't run afterwards.
Yeah.
But they go up so fast. And when you climb it, you realize how crazy it is, the speed they can have in this climb. Yeah.
So this is really the first time you've raced here, right?
Exactly.
So this is really your first time.
For me, it's the first time I race here, because I want to go and really do the race, like an experience. Like 6 years ago, it was really different because I was pregnant, so I didn't feel like I was racing. I was more like
touring.
Yeah, exactly.
You're sort of checking it out so that when you came back, you'd know what you do expect.
Yeah, I know what to expect, because I remember when I did it, I found it so hard when you go to Hawaii and then you have to come back. And then you go for the marathon, and the conditions are so humid, hot. It's really hard. Yeah.
But you like hard, and if you've been in Lanzarote, you know heat.
Exactly, and Lanzarote I think is a bit like this island. It's
so much.
Yeah, it really looked like here, and yeah, I loved it in Lanzarote. There are good vibes, I think, just like here.
I think the thing with Lanzarote, people don't understand that. You have a headwind when you're climbing.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right?
And
it's
the wind
brutal.
is really brutal. The wind is it kills you really.
And it's as hot as it is here.
Yeah.
And the people who train over there or have done well there usually do really well here.
I hope so.
What are your goals? What would you like to do here?
I don't have a rank goal, because I know this depends on the other girls.
Right.
And so I have personal goals, like to go. I'd love to not swim alone and could find fit to swim with other girls.
Yes.
And on the bike, I have really worked for this race specifically, and it's the first time. So I really want to see how far my body can go on the bike, because for me it's a challenge. This bike race, and then on the run, I also have a time goal for me. And I hope I can achieve it, but I know it depends on so many things, like the nutrition, the hydration, and how
wind.
well you. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. It's funny because you could have. Last year we had people going so fast and breaking course records, things like that.
Yeah.
And I remember it was like way back in 1989. Mark Allen went 8:09:01.
Yeah, exactly.
He won the next year. He went like 8:20 or something like that, or 8:15.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So it's all conditions.
It's all conditions.
Big deal
and
out there.
I think you really have to stay focused on yourself on this race, because other girls can start really fast on the bike maybe, and you never know until the end what can happen. So I think you have to. My goal is to stay focused on myself and follow my plan, and then I hope it will be okay. But I will be happy if I have no regrets in the end.
And you'll get to run in the energy lab for the first time.
Yeah, and I don't know energy labs, so I have to discover it.
I love it. Jeanne, thank you so much for taking
Thank you very
time.
much for welcoming me. I'm so proud to meet you, because you are such a legend. I've been following you and looking at your show, and it's so great to meet you.
I love it. I love it. And my mother spells her name exactly the same way you do, Jeanne. A pleasure to meet you, and I'm sure we'll be doing a lot more of this.
Thank you very much. Thanks. See you then.
All right. Poncho Man, take us out.
It's a long hot Tuesday. Gonna swim, bike, and run day. Cause it's breakfast with Bob.
Poncho Man.